We're making one of the ultimate plant-based dishes I've ever come across. Mercimek Köftesi are super flavorsome, they're easy to prepare, they're fun to eat, but because they're made with lentils and bulgur, they're also a complete protein. Welcome back to Vegan Cultures. In this series, I explore traditional plant-based food from around the world. And today is all about Mercimek Köftesi. They are Turkish lentil balls that are made with a mix of lentils and bulgur. And they get their incredible flavor from spices, fresh herbs, and plenty of lemon juice. But what I like most about them is the way you actually eat them. Because you pick up a lentil ball, you put it on a lettuce leaf, and you drizzle it with a lot of lemon juice. They're savory, they're refreshing, and they're the perfect mezze food. Mercimek, by the way, is Turkish for lentils, and köftesi means meatballs. But don't be alarmed, there's no meat in there. There's, however, another dish called ciğer köfte, which is made with ground meat and bulgur. So don't confuse the two when you're out in Turkey hunting for some lentil balls. But enough talking for now, let's make Mercimek Köftesi.
We're starting with 180 grams of red lentils, one of the key ingredients in this dish. There's no need to soak them, but we do want to give them a quick wash to remove some of the starches. Then add them to a pan along with 450 milliliters of water. The exact amount of water is important, as you'll see later on. Bring it to a gentle boil like this, then turn down the heat, put the lid on slightly ajar and let the lentils simmer for 15 minutes. In the meantime, we need to chat about bulgur. Bulgur is often sold in coarse or fine. You want the fine bulgur for this recipe because we're only cooking it in the residue liquid of the lentils. Coarse bulgur won't soften enough, plus it wouldn't give us the ideal texture to shape it into balls. Bulgur, by the way, is made from cracked durum wheat that has already been parboiled and then dried again, which is the reason why it cooks so fast. Back to our lentils. They have cooked for 15 minutes, so we'll turn off the heat. And they look really watery, which is exactly what we want, because now we can add 100 grams of the bulgur and stir it in to break up the lentils. Then close the lid and leave the bulgur to soak up all of the residue water. And after about another 15 minutes, it looks like this. If it feels a little bit dry, don't worry, we're still adding some more wet ingredients later on. Now let's make our flavor base. We'll start by dicing one large onion. You want this to be chopped quite fine because later you will be able to see chunks of onion pieces in the lentil balls. Our next ingredient is biber salçası, which is a Turkish paste made from red peppers. Most Turkish or Middle Eastern shops will sell this. We're also using a Turkish tomato paste, but you can use any tomato paste you have. Then start by sauteing the onions for around 5 minutes until they have softened. Now add 50 grams of the biber salçası, 50 grams of the tomato paste, and also 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. Give it a stir to wake up the flavors and turn off the heat. Our flavor base is done. Now the last bit of our prep. Trim 4 spring onions and finely chop them. Then remove the lower stems of a 50 gram sponge of parsley and finally chop the rest as well. And then it's time to assemble. Add your lentil and bulgur mix, followed by the onion, tomato and pepper paste, the spring onions, the parsley, 1 tablespoon of pul biber, which are crushed chili flakes, the juice of 1 lemon, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and 1 teaspoon of salt. Give everything a good mix. Your hands really are the best tool for this, until it's well divided and looks nice and evenly red like this. Now moisten your hands, that way the lentil balls won't stick. Then grab a small amount, about 30 grams worth, and shape it into a sausage. Close your fist and gently press your fingers into the sausage for the iconic köfte shape. There's 2 last ingredients missing. First, we'll need plenty of little gem lettuce leaves, and we'll also need a lot of extra lemon wedges. Just remember to cut them lengthways to get a nice shape. These lentil balls are a really nice addition to a mezze spread. Grab yourself a large plate or a serving platter and then cover the entire rim with the lettuce leaves. Place the Mercimek Köftesi on top and add a few of the lemon wedges. And then it's time for my favorite part. The traditional way to eat these is to grab a leaf, place a lentil ball on top and then drizzle it with plenty of lemon juice.
Guten Appetit! That is mad. All of the flavors are delicious, but the crispy lettuce and the fresh, tangy lemon juice really bring it together. It almost doesn't work without. You crave that hit of fresh lemon. And the biber salçası, which is this one, it's basically like a concentrated tomato paste, but then in red pepper form, and has a perfect base flavor. I also heard about the tip to add pomegranate molasses. I actually never tried that, but if you've got some, use 1 tablespoon instead of a tablespoon of lemon juice. So why is this part of vegan cultures? I think Mercimek Köftesi are the perfect example of a culture looking at their culinary backbone. And from that, they create or find a recipe that is just naturally plant-based. Köfte are a big part of Turkey and the whole Middle East, but they are made with meat. And with these, nobody came along and said, okay, I'm gonna take loads of soy mince, add flavors to it to recreate the texture of the meat. Instead, they looked at what is abundant in that country, which in parts of Turkey is lentils, and used that protein to add it to the dish. And also, it's not meant to replace the meat köfte, it's actually a dish of its own right. And I think that's what plant-based food is missing sometimes. Often you're taking the protein element out of the equation, but that's not how nature works, that's not how flavor works, and that's definitely not how nutrition works. But these guys, these Mercimek Köftesi, they've really got it all. They're flavorsome and they're super nutritious. So yeah, that's how you make Mercimek Köftesi. You can find a link to the recipe in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. With your support, I'm hoping to bust the myths of the modern vegan diet by offering a natural plant-based approach instead. As always, wunderbar!